My sister went MIA a few months ago. I was close with my sister, but we fell off over the years. She's not involved and gave up her child to my parents. My parents have custody of my niece pre-tween, and she's living with my parents, who feel as though they're getting too old, enough to the point where they can barely take care of her and attend to her needs. I have 2 children already and don't want any more children. My parents invited me over for a sit-down conversation. They explained how it was hard for them to care for my niece due to their age and suggested that I take her in. I declined as they know I have 2 children and don't plan on having more. My parents, mostly my mother, accused me of being selfish and mentioning that I live in a house with 4 bedrooms. She suggested that I should turn over one of the bedrooms to my niece. I told her that wouldn't happen, as I didn't want more children and did not want the responsibility of more kids. I suggested they should give my niece up to foster care or try looking for the girl's mother. My dad agreed to make the search for her mother the priority, and if that didn't go well, they would then consider putting the child into foster care. I offered to help with the search, but as I was leaving my parents' house, my mother asked me if I would be able to live with myself if my niece were to get put into foster care. I responded to her by saying, "Of course I would. I feel bad, but more kids come with more responsibilities, and that's not something I want in my life, and I just don't feel that adding another one into the mix is a good idea." She proceeded to call me a selfish idiot before walking away. I shrugged it off. Am I the idiot for not wanting to take in my sister's daughter? I couldn't live with myself if I allowed my nephew or niece to live in foster care. However, I find it odd that your mother's putting this on you. Even if it's getting hard on them to take care of her, can they live with sending her to foster care? You are not the idiot since it isn't your responsibility, but you're not exactly the person anyone would strive to be. This sums it up. OP isn't obligated, but, like it's kinda cold, I would give everything to protect my niece and nephew. And even if I didn't feel that way, I couldn't bear to see them disappear into the system. Lately, she's been abandoned by her mother, and now she's about to be abandoned by your parents and rejected by you. Does no one love this poor child? Extended family? Friends? Indeed, someone cares about her. This is heartbreaking. Yeah, Mom up and left. Grandparents are ready to throw in the towel, and Aunt and Uncle can't be bothered. What the heck kind of cold weather family is this? You are the idiot, OP. I understand it's hard. I have 2 kids, and I don't want more. But I agree with your parents. You are being selfish. How could you let a cousin of your children go to foster care when you can care for her? Your parents would surely help you with all 3 children to the best of their ability. It might even be a lighter load for you with that in mind. Why isn't this the girl's dad's problem? Like, why aren't they asking him? Or are they trying to find their deadbeat of a daughter first? Or do the grandparents accept that they've taken on responsibility for the kid and raised her? It's funny that you're also ready to crap all over OP when there are so many other people who have a higher responsibility whom you exempt from that responsibility. OP's parents chose to take on that challenge, but seem to be experiencing an acute FAFO scenario due to their age. That's not OP's responsibility. From a moral standpoint, it does seem a little insensitive to condemn an innocent child to the foster system. Still, there are also 2 other people, the biological parents, responsible for this situation, and there doesn't seem to be enough onus being placed on them to get it together. I, 36 male, was a day 1 adoption. Bio parents never even saw me. My adopted parents raised their family where we were encouraged to be healthy, but not pushed to be crazy about it. For example, eat healthy and walk when you can, but don't necessarily feel pushed to do sports or go to the gym. I do exercise regularly though. Anyway, I've never really had a burning desire to find my bio family, but I received a DNA kit from a coworker as a birthday gift and figured there was no harm. They don't know I'm adopted. What I didn't expect to find was a full-blooded sister. Turns out I have 3 sisters and a brother. She reached out to me first, and after a few months of back and forth and advice from my dad, I drove out to see them over the holidays. When I drove up to the house, I thought I had the wrong address at first. The whole family, siblings, parents, grandparents, etc., were outside waiting for me. They were also all morbidly obese. I don't mean that figuratively. My bio mother's basically Darlene Cates from What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and they didn't get much smaller from there. With that said, I tried to put it out of my mind and focus on the positive of meeting my family. The visit was going okay. It felt a little forced, until dinner. A literal feast was prepared, to the extent that there were more options than I could eat. In the end, I could only manage a plate and a half. The rest of the visit went fine, and I left happy to have met them. It wasn't until I got home that I saw the missed messages. I was accused of being a fat-phobic idiot. Everything from my initial confusion when I arrived to how little I ate was scrutinized. I was told I made everyone feel judged and unwanted. I honestly don't care about people's weight, but I also don't want to pretend I wasn't put off by them at first. In my defense, I wasn't expecting them to be so heavy, but I also think I demonstrated that I wouldn't let myself judge a book by its cover. I don't know. Am I the idiot? No, not the idiot. It sounds like they're the ones with the problem. They might have been mentally surfing on the "it's genetics" thing their entire lives as a reason for being overweight. Seeing you probably brought a harsh reality crash that their issues are from lifestyle over anything else. Sometimes a reality hit like that makes people lash out and blame others, rather than take responsibility for their own actions. I'm sorry for you that they let something that petty be negative for your first meeting of the bio family. This was my first thought as well. There are a lot of people who blame poor genetics on their weight. We can blame genetics on where we put on weight, but it's mostly behavioral decisions that cause weight gain. My ex-mother-in-law would blame genetics, not the extra calories she ate while preparing meals. Being vocal about it was her preemptive defense mechanism. It's funny that she had a very outdoorsy brother and a vegetarian who was beanpole thin. I think it's normal to look confused when meeting bio family after 36 years. You literally have no clue what to expect, even if there had been social media pictures shared ahead of time. Unless you openly called them all fat, eating a plate and a half is a perfectly normal amount to eat. You shouldn't have to force yourself to eat more than what's comfortable to make them feel better about themselves. This really has nothing to do with you and everything to do with themselves. Please don't doubt yourself and do what you must to keep the peace in your life. I was diagnosed with PPD, so I'm not sure if this is playing a part in my actions or not. I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years, and he has a twin son, Jake. I've owned my home for nearly 10 years now. They moved in 2 years ago. Our daughter is an infant. Now, Jake loves his sister. He's always holding her and trying to help, but there's been a massive issue since I had her, with him purposely scaring her, walking up to her and yelling, "Rah!" He thinks it's hilarious when she does startle reflexes, and then laughs when she cries, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare her like that," but continues laughing and purposely trying to scare her, at least 4 times a day. Now, I've always told him to cut the crap. I've told him several times that he's hurting her ears. I've told him several times that it's not funny. And then, not even 3 days ago, I lost my crap entirely and told my boyfriend and him that if he purposely scared my kid again, then they would be evicted and gone from my constant life. I said this because while my boyfriend sometimes corrects his kid, he also tells me I'm overreacting. He said it's natural for kids to think it's funny when babies get startled, and I simply don't understand because I've never been around multiple kids. His son has a half-brother and apparently did the same thing with him when he was a baby. But anyway, I lost it and threatened to kick them out, and at that moment, I truly felt like an idiot because Jake looked sad and just went to his room. But like last night, I stepped out of the room for a minute and my daughter was in her swing. Jake went to sit here, and when I was out of the room, I heard Jake, very loudly and fast, say, "What are you doing?" in a baby voice, and my daughter started screaming immediately. I heard my boyfriend take care of it. And then like an hour later, I went to the bathroom and the baby was in her seat and I heard, "Rah!" followed by the baby crying, yet again. So I told them to pack their crap and get out now. I didn't wait for a response because now I'm trying to calm down my baby. Jake tried apologizing and said it was a habit, and my boyfriend started protesting, saying it wasn't a big deal. I just refused to acknowledge their excuses and told them to leave. My boyfriend sat down on the chair, said he wasn't going anywhere, and that this was his house too. So I said I would leave then and have the cops serve him an eviction notice. He tried begging me to calm down and kept saying, "He's a tween. What do you expect? He's not going to be perfect." I left, and this morning, I filed for their eviction. Everyone thinks I'm being ridiculous here, but Jake refuses to stop, and I'm tired of him purposely yelling in my daughter's face to scare her 4 times a day. Edit. I've also asked Jake why he does this, and he said he thinks it's funny when kids cry. Not the idiot. Yes, he's a tween. He's old enough to know better and to not do it, old enough to listen to instructions. Would he like it if you startled him every morning? No, he's a tween, but he's being an idiot, and this almost sounds sadistic. The fact that he says he likes making babies cry is alarming. I'm wondering what other behavioral issues he has. Jake thinks it's funny to scare a baby and laughs when she cries. I would consider his behavior abusive, especially since he's been told numerous times to stop. Even after being threatened with eviction, he still did it. It almost seems like a power trip to him. Picking on a smaller person with the express interest of scaring them, it might be that he's jealous because he isn't getting all of the attention. Regardless, he needs help. The key detail is that Jake started to scare your baby when you left the room. It means that he's in control of his behavior. It means that he knows that you disapprove. That's not innocent child behavior. He's acting sneaky and duplicitous. Your boyfriend is a crap parent. It's pretty sad that he's taking Jake's side over a defenseless infant. Throw them out and threaten to call the cops on that little idiot if he does it again. That'll scare him. And your boyfriend can't be trusted to protect her. Seems he's barely older than his son. My kid has to sell chocolate-covered almonds as a fundraiser at school. I would rather just give them the amount he'll raise, but that isn't allowed. So I told my wife to just pay for 2 boxes out of the petty cash I keep in my office. I'll take the almonds to work and give them out to my guys for free. My wife says I'm missing the point and should take my son out to sell the almonds. I think that's ridiculous. I think I have better ways to spend several hours than to harass my neighbors trying to get them to buy chocolate. I told her she could either go out and sell the chocolate or take my money. Now she thinks I'm an idiot because I don't value her free time. She's a stay-at-home mom right now. When our youngest is 2, she'll be going back to work. I work 60 hours a week, not including the commute. Now she wants me to spend hours out selling chocolate? No thanks. My free time is valuable too. Am I the idiot for telling my wife to either take my money or she can be responsible for fundraising? Not the idiot. These fundraisers are complete BS. They combine child labor with the pressure to donate. When I was in school, we did a fundraiser run where we had to get family members to sign documents that they would give X amount per kilometer we ran. The money was supposed to go to a new hall for PE. Surprise, surprise. I'm out of school for almost 10 years now, and there are no signs of a new hall yet. It's about spending time with your kid, not making money. You have better things to do for a few hours than parent your child. Sadly, you think your free time is too valuable to spend with your kid. The almonds are an opportunity to teach your child work and reward for the first time, and you'd rather just hand over the money. Something tells me that your kid is the kind who acts terribly at restaurants, and instead of teaching manners, you use an iPad. Because parenting is hard, and you don't feel like making an effort. You are the idiot and the subpar parent. Your wife is your kid's only hope. I agree. The point is to teach your child. Fundraising sucks, but you're teaching your child life skills. Speaking confidently to strangers, accepting no gracefully, handling money, hard work, and accomplishing a goal for the greater good. None of this is about chocolate. Your wife wants you to spend time with your son. Ignore these idiots. I also work a lot, and using the little quality time I have with my son for running from door to door and bothering people would also be very low on the list of things I'd like to do. You were right. Improve your position by pledging to do something else with your kid. No one wants to flog or buy a $10 roll of gift wrap, a $15 box of chocolate-covered almonds, a $20 bucket of frozen cookie dough, etc. The school district my children attended banned these fundraisers a long time ago. I, 34 male, am engaged to my fiancée, Emily, 31 female. Both of our families are lower class, so we have to pay for the wedding by ourselves. We talked it through, and I suggested we have a more chill, smaller wedding and save our money for a down payment on a bigger house. I make significantly more than her. She's a teacher and I'm a doctor. So I told her I would take care of the majority of the expenses, like the venue, catering, and planner, if she just paid for her dress and more minor stuff like that. Last week, her parents hosted a party for us before the wedding, and her mom kept making comments about how she can't believe how small our wedding will be, or that we're not hosting it at the fancy hotel downtown that's just so much better and elegant than what I chose. I even overheard her talking to her sister about how small the diamond is in Emily's ring and that it's embarrassing a doctor won't treat her daughter better. I spent about $5,000, which I thought was fair. She just seemed so hung up on the fact that her daughter's marrying a doctor, but the wedding and the ring isn't on a doctor level. Based on what I know, I think she's a little embarrassed about her family's socioeconomic status and was hoping her daughter marrying a doctor would help her improve her image to her friends and extended family. Throughout all of it, Emily looked extremely embarrassed and awkward and kept trying to tell her mom it was fine. And her mom just said, "You need to learn to stand up for yourself." That's when I just lost it and told her mom she could be uninvited from the wedding if she had so many problems with it and was embarrassed by how cheap I was. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. This sounds incredibly exhausting and selfish. She's ruining the atmosphere of a special day for her daughter and for you. I hope this doesn't foreshadow how she'll be throughout your marriage. She sounds like a nightmare. Be sure to get a prenup OP and set clear boundaries about how much access mother-in-law gets to you, your home, your family, plus assets going forward, so you don't get to a point where mother-in-law sees what's yours is also hers, moves into your house, and stuff like that, or starts expecting you to support her financially. Also, talk to your fiancé and ensure you're on the same page regarding how to deal with her mom. Exactly. Mother-in-law is a gold digger. Get a prenuptial agreement. Don't let love blind you. She may have been pushed to find a doctor to marry. The fact is, she told her mom it's okay. She didn't say it was perfect and put her in her place. She may love you, but if she ever decides she's unhappy with doctor's hours, things will be messy. I admire your small wedding. It should be personal, not a waste of money on a big show for people who are only there for free food and drinks. Good luck.